What's going on YouTube? My name is Martin Turum. Welcome to Martin Talks History, and today we'll be talking about the history of Norway's first king, Harald Fairhair. Disclaimer, the dates in this video are only in close proximity to when we think these events actually happened and are formed primarily to give readers and viewers a sense of timeline. The story of Harald Fairhair begins in the year 818, when his supposed father, the legendary Halfdan the Black, is born. He grows up with his mother, Åsa the Powerful, in the kingdom of Agder, which she inherited by her father when he was murdered. In the years to come, the idea of a large Norwegian kingdom formed in the minds of men and women who lived in the lower southern parts of today's Norway. Areas that at the time were dominated by the Danes, primarily because of its close proximity to the Jylland Peninsula through seaway. In AD 836, Halfdan the Black inherits the northern part of Vestfold, and in the years to come he expands his kingdom by taking the lands of chieftains and petty kings in close proximity to his own. And in the year 848, Harald Fairhair is born in Sogn, although his byname, Fairhair, would be given to him much later. There he grows up and learns what it means to be a king with his mother and grandfather. 10 years later, in 858, Halfdan the Black dies in the Ransfjord on a return from a feast in Hadeland. The ice beneath him, his men and their horses break, and not a single living being survives. The 10-year-old Harald inherits the kingdom, and his uncle, Guttorm, becomes guardian and effectively rules as regent, a role he will keep until Harald turns 15. Following Halfdan's death, Harald and his guardian face threats of revolt from throughout the kingdom. The first to turn to his weapons was King Gandalf, a king Halfdan had reached peace with a few years earlier. But Gandalf now knew that the death of Halfdan had weakened the kingdom, and so Gandalf sent his son Hake and 360 warriors from what today is referred to as Østfold or Eastfold, referencing the fold, which today is called the Oslofjord. It is important to note here that 360 men in Viking Age Norway is a substantial amount of men. It's a strong and powerful group, one that can be incredibly hard to defeat. However, the army of Harald the Young had better equipment than most others in Norway, and therefore he and Guttorm had an advantage right away. Hake and his men were hiding, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, but Guttorm's spies had found their location, and he destroyed the army of Hake before his father Gandalf could come to the rescue. Several other revolts followed. The sons of King Oystein of Hedmark came at the new king and his guardian, but they too were killed as the buildings the brothers and their men slept in were put on fire. Following that burning, they closed in on King Gandalf and ended his life. Harald was quick to learn what it meant to be king, and the battles that followed the beginning of his reign were to lay the foundation of his future expansion and ultimately becoming the first king of Norway. After the initial revolts were ended, a time of peace came. In the year 860, the kingdom in Opplandene was a stable kingdom. This is also where the sagas run out of information for a while, and where myth and legend is born. The tale of how Harald met the beautiful Princess Gyda, who would not marry him before he was king of all Norway, and inspiring him to do just that, is set in the time when nothing really happened. This is probably because the kingdom and its rulers needed time to rebuild after the various battles of the early revolts. In 863, Harald the Young turns 15 years of age, and the plans to expand his kingdom in Opplandene are begun. What follows are gruesome massacres and great battles, all worthy the saga form they are written in. That is what we will be discussing in the second part of the history of Norway's first king, Harald Fairhair. Thank you for watching. Please do leave a like if you enjoyed the video, comment if you have any questions or suggestions, and subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Martin Turum, and I'll see you next time.